It's the dictionary. It's the dictionary. It's the dictionary. It's the dictionary. Dictionary. It's the dictionary. It's the dictionary.
Hi, word nerds. Welcome to the dictionary. My name is Spencer, and this is the dictionary. It is the podcast where I talk about the things in the book. Let's jump right into it. As they say, the first word is galantine. 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 It is a noun from 1725. This is a cold dish consisting of boned meat or fish that has been stuffed, poached, and covered with aspic. What is aspic again? I've heard of it. It's a kind of thing that you're eating, I guess. Where's aspic? Show me aspic in the dictionary. It's a clear, savory jelly made out of fish or meat stock, used as a garniture to make a meat. Oh, it's to make a mold. It just sounds so gross. A meat jelly thing. Yeah. Meat jelly. Okay, so a galantine, cold dish with meat and more meat. It's been stuffed and covered with this jelly stuff. Blah. Okay, this is from the Old French galantine, which means fish sauce. So that makes sense. Probably from the Latin gelatus. Looks like, kind of like gelatin. From the Latin verb gelare, which means to congeal or freeze. And there's more at the word cold. So a galantine is a meat dish of stuff that's like congealed and jellied and stuff like that, like a gelatin. Similar, the word is similar. Okay, well, that was that one. Let's see, what sort of sound effect shall I make? I will go... The next word is Galatea. Galatea with a capital G. This is a noun from the 14th century. It is a female figure sculpted by Pygmalion and given life by Aphrodite in fulfillment of his prayer. Well, I'm just going to do a quick look up for Galatea. So this is it doesn't say, well, let's look at the etymology. It's from the Greek Galatea, so this would be a Greek. Doesn't say if she's a goddess, or what, just a female figure. Let's look up Greek. Yeah, Greek mythology, that's what we're talking about here. So yeah, we know it's Greek, but it's just a female figure that like one of the gods, who is Pygmalion, maybe one of the Greek gods, he or she, I don't know, sculpted this female figure, and then Aphrodite gave her life in fulfillment of his prayer. So Pygmalion was like, please, please, please bring this woman to life. I just want her to live so I can have somebody in my life. I don't know the story. And then Aphrodite was like, yes, I will bring her to life for you. Because that's not awkward. Greek mythology. Galatea is most famously known as a Nereid, who was loved by the Cyclops Polyphemus, but loved the mortal shepherd Assis in return. When Polyphemus found them together, he killed Assis, and Galatea transformed his blood into the Assis River. Another version of the myth features Galatea as the name given to the ivory statue created by the sculptor Pygmalion. Okay, he was just a sculptor. He wasn't even a god. If he was a god, then he probably could have brought her to life on his own. He was just a sculptor, which is pretty impressive. Which the goddess Aphrodite brought to life. So two versions of Galatea. One was this love triangle with the Cyclops, and the other one, she was the statue that came to life, and I'm sure that they had a wonderful life together, and I'm sure they lived happily ever after. Galatea. Why doesn't the dictionary give both versions? I don't know. Um, yeah, that's that one. Fascinating. I cannot remember all of the Greek stories and all the people. There's a lot of stuff involved there. Okay, what was my sound effect? Something like. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, now we have Galatians, noun from 1587. This is an argumentative letter of St. Paul written to the Christians of Galatia and included as a book in the New Testament. And it says to go see the Bible table. So it's a argumentative letter that St. Paul wrote. St. Paul was very angry about something. He was arguing. He was like, this is what I believe, and I'm gonna write it written to the Christians of Galatia. So was he being argumentative to the Christians of Galatia, and that's why it's called the Galatians? Galatians? I don't know my Bible stuff. Blah, 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 blah. Next is Galavant, or Galavant, Galavant. It is a variation of Galavant, or Galavant, spelled Gallivant. We'll learn about that one later. Not that much later, I guess. Okay. Next is that a long A? It is Galax, I think. Galax. Galax. Noun from circa 1753. This is an evergreen herb of the southeastern U.S. that has glossy leaves and is related to the heaths. The order name is Ericales. And the species names, we have a couple of them. It is Galax urceolata, and also Galax aphylla. Those are in the order Diapensialis or Diapensiales. Something like that. Man, this really works your brain. You gotta really focus and pay attention to all the letters and the sounds that they make. Okay, so that was, I think it's Galax. I would probably have said Galax or Galax, but it's an herb, an evergreen herb. Okay, moving on to something not related, something that we talked about in the previous episode. I don't even know if that was my original sound effect, but it's okay, it is now. It's the word galaxy. Noun from the 14th century. All right, number 1A. This is often capitalized. The synonym is the Milky Way galaxy. And this is used with the word the galaxy. The only one that we live in. We don't live in multiple galaxies. Galaxies are crazy. Okay, so we live in the Milky Way galaxy. We're like way off on the edge, I think. And I think because of that, we can like see a whole lot of the galaxy when it's nighttime and you're in an area that doesn't have all this light pollution, and you look up in the sky and you see this band of many, many stars going across the sky. And all the people way back in the day when there was no light pollution at all, they were like, wow, it looks so milky. We have a word for milky. It's the Greek word. What was it? Galacto? That's what we're going to call it. So then it just became the Milky Way galaxy. And then we started naming all of our galaxies, all of those billions of galaxies out there in the world. We started naming them for the word milky because we live in the Milky Way galaxy. It's kind of crazy. We couldn't have come up with a different name for all those things. But anyway, yes, the Milky Way galaxy. It contains, I don't know, hundreds of billions of stars probably. And I would guess that many of those have planets that are rotating those stars just like we are rotating around our star, the sun. And there's got to be life out there. There just has to be. Okay. Oh, and then we have a black hole in the center, and it has such a huge mass that the gravity is making all of those things spiral around. All of those solar systems in our galaxy are going around that black hole, and that's just one galaxy out of billions and I don't know, maybe trillions of galaxies out there in the universe. Oh, it hurts my brain in such a good way. Okay, next, 1B. Any of the very large groups of stars and associated matter that are found throughout the universe. All through the universe. Not a creature was stirring. Not even a house. Yep, all those galaxies. Oh my God, it's so huge. It's so huge. It's galactic. Number 2A. An assemblage of brilliant or notable persons or things, as in a galaxy of artists. Why do they have to be brilliant or notable to be called a galaxy? Can it just be just a bunch of people? You could have a bunch of artists who aren't brilliant or notable. But I guess there's something about the word galaxy and having a brilliant person. It's just like, oh, it's just kind of another level is what they're saying. I don't know. I never heard this word used this way. But we also have 2B. The synonym is the 11th definition for the word world. Way down in the W's. The example here is remained galaxies apart on the issue. That is a quote from Newsweek. They were galaxies apart on the issue. They disagreed so heartily that there was like galaxies in between them. And galaxies, we know, are huge. They are galactic, so they must have been very far apart in their opinions on the matter. Okay, galaxy. Well, we are going to get some official etymology here. Finally, we didn't have it really in the previous episode, but we're getting it here. This is from, going all the way down to the Greek word galact or gala, which means milk, akin to the Latin lac, L-A-C, which means milk, like lactose, lactating, lacabagardindung. I don't know what that was. So yes, milk. That's where it comes from. How did I never know this? How did I learn this once and forget it? Did you know this? If you knew this, please tell me. Some of you definitely knew it, but I don't feel like this is something that they were teaching. I don't think they ever taught us the etymology of galaxy. Galaxy. Oh, it's crazy. Okay, moving on to... It's the word galbanum or galbanum. This is kind of a funny word. Galbanum, galbanum. Noun from the 14th century. It's a yellowish to green or brown aromatic bitter gum resin derived from several Asian plants and used in incense. So it probably smells good, and they even used the word, didn't they? Aromatic. Yep, it's got smells. Smells for your nose. Okay, let's see. The species name of the Asian plants, one of them would be Ferula galbaniflua? No, there's an L in there. Galbaniflua, something like that. Galbaniflua. All right. This is Middle English from Latin, from Greek, chalbane or chalbany, of Semitic origin, akin to the Hebrew word halbenach, which means galbanum. How do we pronounce this word? Galbanum. Galbanum. Galbanum, galbanum, galbanumnum, galbanum, galbanum, galbanumnum. All right, it's a bitter gum resin. Moving on to it's the word Gale, G-A-L-E, like Dorothy Gale. Noun from circa 1547. Number 1A, a strong current of air. And we know that Dorothy Gale was taken away by a strong current of air called a tornado. Now we have 1A1, a wind from 32 to 63 miles per hour, which is about 51 to 102 kilometers per hour for those of you in most of the world. 1A2, the synonym is fresh gale, and it says to go see the Beaufort scale table, which I think we talked about at some point. Was it later in the Fs? Something like that. There was, maybe it was for the word fresh. There are all these different types of winds and then adjectives to those winds, and they're very specific measurements and speeds. 1B, this is archaic. The synonym is breeze. Oh, what a nice breeze on this cool spring day. That's different, I think, than a fresh gale, than a wind that's 32 to 63 miles per hour. That's pretty fast. Number 2, an emotional outburst, as in gales of laughter. An emotional outburst. So it can be an outburst of anything that's emotional. Maybe there's a gales of crying. So many people crying all of a sudden for reasons. Any emotion. Laughter, sadness. Oh, what if you get very angry and you just have gales of fury? Ooh, gales of fury. That sounds cool. All right, this word, hey, it's unknown. We don't know where it came from. Don't know. I can't figure it out. And I don't know if you can either. Blah, 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 blah. Next is Galea. 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 Noun from 1823. This is an anatomical part suggesting a helmet. Oh, okay. Galea? Well, this is the Latin word for helmet, and I'm tempted but a little scared to look up this word in the Google. Helmet. So it is a helmet, a Roman soldier's metal helmet. So that is a galea. But why anatomical part? There's one specific thing I'm thinking of that, of course, I think most people probably think of that this could fit. I'm not going to look that up, but also just your head, the head on the top of your neck. That's like a helmet because the helmet has to fit onto your head, so it has to be shaped like a helmet. So maybe your head is your galea. Blah, 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 blah. Next is Galena. There is a town in northwestern Illinois that I have been to many times called Galena because it's going to be directly related to this definition. This is a noun from 1671. This is a bluish-gray cubic mineral with metallic luster consisting of lead sulfite and constituting the principal ore of lead. This is just the Latin word for lead ore, O-R-E. And I know just a little bit. Let's just look up why is the town Galena called Galena. I know that I think there and then across the river in like that whole area in Dubuque, they were doing a lot of this sort of like mining and oring, and there's like cliffs, and they would drop the metal off the cliff and it would make a ball shape and they would catch it. And they were doing stuff like that. And I think they were doing it in Galena as well, kind of, because it has all of this stuff underground, I guess. Named after Galena, the Latin word for lead sulfide, which was the most important lead ore mined in the area. The region was a major mining center in the 19th century, and the name was officially adopted in 1826 because of the high-grade lead deposits found there. I don't know if they're still doing it, still mining, but they might be. It's kind of a funny name for a town. I'm sure there's lots of funny town names out there in the world that are named after stranger things than that. But yeah, it's just like, hey, my town's named for lead. That's what it is. At one point, Galena was larger than Chicago. This was, of course, many, many years ago. But because of all of the mining and the work and stuff that was there, it was a pretty big town. And it's on a river. And, water is very important. But then, as time went on, Chicago exploded in population and size and buildings, and Galena just kind of stayed the same. It's still a very, very small town, and it's beautiful out there, and everybody should go visit. Okay, now we have galenical or galenical. This is a noun from 1768. This is a medicine prepared by extracting one or more active constituents of a plant. So is this not a specific medicine? A medicine prepared by extracting one or more active constituents of a plant. So anytime that you take out the good stuff from the plant to use as a medicine, and then you put them together into a medicine, that process is galenical. Now, it's a noun, so that would it be that's a galenical? A medicine? The medicine is the galenical, I guess. This is from the word galen, which we did not have here, plus ick plus al. But why isn't galen or gallon in here? Galen. What is that word? I don't know. Blah, 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 blah. Now we have the word galere. Galere. And the first E has the accent that goes down. Grave. I think it's the grave accent. It goes pew. So it is galere. Noun from 1756. This is a group of people having an attribute in common. There's a word for that. If there's a whole bunch of people, and maybe you have a galaxy of artists, then that galaxy of artists could also be called a galère because they have an attribute in common, which is they are artists. Galère. Okay, well, this is the French word for galley. From Middle French, from the Catalonian galera, and also Middle Greek gallia. So yeah, a group, a galley, a space, I don't know, a group of people who share a thing. An attribute in common. Never heard of this word. How shall I use this word? Look at all those people. Look at that galère of people who all have noses. Next is galette. Galette. Noun from 1775. Number 1, a flat round cake of pastry. A cake of pastry. Often topped with fruit. I have heard of these. I don't know if I've eaten one. Let's look up a galette. Let's see. There we go. A dish. A galette dish. Yes. A flat, round, and free-form cake or tart, which can be either sweet or savory. Yes, I guess when I'm looking at the picture, I probably have had one, although these look big. I guess I imagined it to be like a single serving size, which probably exists out there. Number 2, the picture I see is, it looks like pie-sized, and it's got the dough at the bottom, and then this one's got sliced apples, and seasoned, of course, and then you fold the edges of the pastry over the edge, like maybe a couple inches, and so the middle of the fruit is exposed, but the edges are covered with more pastry, and it looks very tasty. Yes, it does. Okay, so now we have number 2 is a food prepared and served in the shape of a flat, round cake. That's what it is. As in, a galette of potatoes. Anything with potatoes is good with me. They're in the shape of a flat, round cake of potatoes. Please bring me one now. This word is French from Old French galette, which means rounded pebble. Rounded pebble? From the Old French dialect gal, which means pebble. So this word just comes from pebble? Pebbles are so tiny. They're very little. Not a big, round, flat thing. They're both round. I'll give them that. That tracks. That's fine. But that's an odd evolution to go from pebble to flat, round dish of food. A galette. But yes, I shall have a galette. Maybe when I go to Paris. later this year. Actually, this episode is airing just before I leave town. So maybe when you're hearing this, I am in Paris eating a galette. I'm just going to eat the whole pie-shaped thing. I'm just going to lift it up and bring it to my mouth and eat it that way. I won't be fancy at all. Blah, 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 blah. Next is Gal Friday. 2 words. Gal is just G-A-L, and Friday has a capital F. Noun from 1958. The synonym is Girl Friday. I have heard of these. I cannot remember what they are. There's a movie, I think, is it His Girl Friday? That title made a lot more sense when that movie came out, but we're not using that term so much these days. So now people might be a little bit confused about what that is. But you will have to wait a little while for Girl Friday. Not terribly long. It looks like, let's see, I have planned out this section already. This one will be airing on March 13th, 2026. That's when Girl Friday is. And then right after that is Girlfriend. All right, now, so that was Gal Friday, and now we go. We have the word Galilean or Galilean with a capital G, because I believe this is from Galileo. Adjective from circa 1751. This is of, relating to, or discovered by Galileo Galilei, or Galilei. The example is Galilean satellites. So, they're related to Galileo somehow. He didn't discover them unless they are naturally occurring satellites going around the Earth, maybe. I mean, the moon technically is a satellite, I think. But they're Galilean satellites because he invented something or came up with an idea that allowed us to create satellites. I don't know what happened. I don't know why they're Galilean satellites. Maybe those satellites were arrested and put in jail because of their scientific thoughts. Galilean. Okay, now moving on to Galilee. G-A-L-I-L-E-E. Noun from the 15th century. This is a chapel or porch at the entrance of an English church. A chapel or a porch? A port chapel? Those seem different, but I guess maybe I'm thinking of different definitions than both, or one or both of those. At the entrance of an English church. So as you are going to church in England, and you're coming up to the thing, and you're like, look at this beautiful Galilee, this entrance, this chapel, this porch. How nice it is that they put a Galilee up just for me. Let's see, it's probably from the Middle English Galilea, which means Galilee. From Latin, doesn't really say much other than that, but I want to look up a picture of a Galilee. Galilee! There's also a region in Israel that's Galilee. That's a fertile, mountainous region in northern Israel. The Sea of Galilee. That's supposedly where Jesus walked on water. But no, I want to know, church, I guess. Galilee Church? I don't want the actual church name Galilee. I want the thing. I guess I should look up the pictures. And here we go. We got some pictures now. But I don't know exactly what part we're talking about. A lot of these are literally called Galilee Church, Galilee Baptist Church, Galilee Episcopal Church. So, yeah. Do they even know that part of their church is called the Galilee? I don't know. All right, moving on to, we got one more word. Blah, 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 blah. It's galingale. Galingale? Galingale. Yeah, that would make sense. Galingale. Galingale. Noun from 1578. Number 1, an old world sedge, S-E-D-G-E, but broadly, any of various other sedges of the same genus. The species is Cyperus longus. And, oh, hey, number 2, the synonym is galingale, which was that, criminy, I'm ripping paper. Galingale, that was it a couple episodes ago, either of 2 Eastern Asian perennial herbs. So that's what it is. Galingale, they're all very similar. So, I got to pick a word of the episode now. That is what happens at this time, at this very moment in time. Today we had galantine, Galatea, Galatians, Gallivant, Galax, Galaxy, Galbanum, Galia, Galena, Galenical, Galere, Galette, Gal Friday, Galilean, Galilee, and galingale. Well, I think I have to pick galaxy as the word of the episode because I think that galaxies are just so fascinating. There's so many out there. There's so many galaxies out there. The universe is filled with galaxies. There's so many galaxies, let's try to count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I can't count them. There's too many galaxies to count. That's what it is. There's different kinds of galaxies out there in the universe. All right, that was enough. We got so many galaxies to deal with. I can't even barely contain our own. But if you ever get the chance to go out somewhere in the world that has no light pollution or very little light pollution, just go there and look up at night and be like, what is out there? All right, I'm going to tell you about a movie that I watched. This one is Eleanor the Great. This was a very good movie, and I recommend you watch it. And it's got June Squibb, who is fantastic. And I'm gonna look up. What was her name? I just thought of June Squibb, and now I can't remember. Eleanor, that's what it was. I want to look it up, so I give all of the proper information. Here we go. Eleanor the Great. She meets up with a college student, and they build a friendship. And Eleanor she's a fun character. This is directed by Scarlett Johansson. I believe this is her first time directing. And you gotta watch it. It's so very good. And I don't think it was out in theaters for very long. So, you might have to find it streaming or something. Okay. It's a story about a 94-year-old woman, and maybe a lot of people aren't interested in that, but I think it's worth it. All right, that is going to be the end of this episode. Thank you so much for checking it out. And until next time, this is Spencer dispensing information. Goodbye.